Super dope.
Super dope.
Plus Ultra. All right, what's up? My name's Kyle. Thanks for checking this out. Federico, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing pretty good today. Kirishima episode. That's exactly what I needed.
Yeah, man.
So,
About damn time.
let's go GUTSY Red Riot. Anytime Kirishima is a focal point in an episode, I'm a fan. He's one of my favorites. I identify a lot with him and just his naivete, his blind optimism at times. And he's somebody that I wish we'd see a little bit more of. So obviously getting the preview from last week, knowing it was a Kiri episode. Also, but this episode hinted at a lot of bigger things that we're going to talk about throughout here. I got my main points worked out here. Before we do that, a couple housekeeping items. Hey, welcome to Dragon Ball Super Dope. I wonder what the fuck we call ourselves this week. Super Dope Plus Ultra.
Yeah, Plus Ultra, man.
Plus Ultra. What'd you say? Sounded like you said plus section.
I don't know, man.
All
Plus
right.
Ultra.
Good job. Plus Ultra. We'll figure it out one of these days, but for now, Super Dope. So if you like it, rate, subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all the places where the podcasts live. YouTube, that's a place. Any other places, you can call us up. If you're already sick of me telling you to do things in the first 30 seconds of this pod, tell me about it. 401-213-9596. 401-213-9596. Leave us a fucking voicemail, and maybe we'll play it. Maybe it's about My Hero Academia. Maybe it's about the latest stuff in Dragon Ball. Friday night, we're recording this on Wednesday night. Friday night, me and maybe Carlton should be getting together to do the latest manga review for Dragon Ball Super. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I'm sure he will at least make the attempt to blow me off to go to a gay bar. So, that's pretty much the housekeeping items. First and foremost, this episode opens up. We get to see a little sneak peek of Chaco and Froppy doing their work study.
Yeah, man.
And they seem to be kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah, man. Like,
Making themselves an asset right out the gate for the Dragoon hero, Rikyu. What the fuck is a dragon?
I don't know. A dragoon is a dragon, I would imagine.
What's up with the extra O then?
I don't know.
You want him to Google what a dragoon is?
No.
Fine.
I'm pretty sure it's a dragon with an extra O.
Dragoons originally were a class of mounted infantry who used horses for mobility, but dismounted to fight on foot. From the early 18th century onward, dragoons were increasingly also employed as conventional cavalry, trained for combat with swords from horseback. So, does she ride a horse? We didn't really see much of what she did today. But what we did see is after Chaco and Asui whoops some ass, sidekick, understudy style, or work study style, or whatever, she approaches them and says, hey, we've been contacted by Sir Night Eye's agency, All Might's former sidekick. And I'm like, oh, I know who that is. He's been in a lot of the last few episodes. Yes, what about him? And she says, hey, we're going to go to his place tomorrow and have a meeting. We're going to talk about this big operation. And I'm like, an operation? Y'all teaming up? And the girl for the big three, what is it, Najiri Hado? Is that right?
I think so.
Najiri?
Najiri?
I can't do the pronunciations. Either way. Not yet, anyway. And you know that when I do know how to pronounce the name, I'm going to be so fucking obnoxious about it that you're going to get annoyed. So take splendor in my stupidity now, people. Anyway, she's the female part of the big three for UA High. She too makes then the explanation of, a team up is when two agencies work together on a case. Duh. Thanks for explaining that. That was very helpful. Obviously, given the context, I couldn't have pieced it together that this pro hero and their little team is going to work with Night Eye and their little team. I'm just happy that they're finding a way to get a couple of Deku's classmates involved in his side story.
Yeah, that's really cool.
This very easily could have been Deku, Mirio, and Night Eye.
Yep.
Three amigos going off doing this thing. But bringing in his classmates, not only for sake of having, some other familiar characters, but in order to build up the scale. Like, it's required. Like, this is a threat of that magnitude where we're going to be teaming up with at least one, if not maybe multiple hero agencies. It's especially now that we know that they're in tandem with the League of Villains. So one thing that I think is interesting about these two hero agencies teaming up right now, and sort of the way that it's structured, like, it's something I've talked about in the past. It's like, I could see the class of 1A graduating, going on to be pro heroes, and eventually to take on the bigger threats of whatever the frig happens in their world. They gotta form up like Voltron, or better comparison, the Avengers. And have like a superhero team of,
right.
the top, whatever, 6, 7-ish heroes, and they defend the big crazy threats that no one of them could do, on their own. So I feel like this whole arrangement kind of hints at that, but instead of just the hero to hero thing, it's like agencies contact agencies. It's like sometimes the way they talk about heroes as a profession reminds me a lot of professional sports. And just like the way that it's represented and the way that it's handled and the PR aspect of it and the compensation part of it and making sure that you've got like extra avenues for your income by way of advertisements and things like so much of it reminds me of sports contracts and how those are structured for athletes. But either way, the way that they communicate in order to coordinate on one villain, it just sounds a lot more formal than I would have ever expected it to be. But at least we know Asui and Ochako are going to be in on the bullshit against Overhaul, which, Deku's girlfriend being involved with, this little girl that Deku wants to save. Deku's going to earn some real cool dad points with Ochako, who is the best girl.
Still best girl.
If you disagree, you're wrong.
Yep. Dead wrong.
You're dead wrong. So why are we teaming up? Why are these agencies teaming up? Well, because, idiot. Overhaul and the League of Villains, aka Tomura Shigaraki and his boys, they are teaming up.
But they don't know that, though.
Well, I think they've got a hint that things could get real ugly if they expand and work together. So Shigaraki comes back to make him, like we talked about last episode, to make him walk around in that underground tunnel for like 30 effing minutes so he gets lost or wherever.
Yep.
He comes into the room, and basically his pitch to Overhaul is, I don't work for you, I'm not joining you, but we work in tandem. Like, we're on the same team. You can use the League of Villains, like, because we got the notoriety, but they have, like, the power, it seems, right now.
I believe he said, I'll still be calling the shots.
Well, I think he meant that he'll still be calling his own shots. You know what I mean? Like, they can work together because and he says at this point we have a common goal, so it's okay for us to work together at this point. And when he says I'm calling the shots, he means like I'm calling my own shots, or the shots for me and my team. We can work together because it's convenient for now, but you don't own me. You don't tell me what the fuck to do. That's the way I took it anyway. I don't know if that's exactly it. I don't know. Either way, I think that the real interesting part of it is obviously we knew that these two were going to work together. You think we're going to have a fucking season without Tomura Shigaraki being somehow involved?
Right.
Unlikely. He's been the counterpoint to Deku since the beginning of the goddamn series, and we talked about it at length. If you haven't heard earlier episodes of this podcast, especially the My Hero stuff, it's probably because not a lot of them are on the public feed. Plug. Go to patreon.com/DragonBallSuperDope. Bunch of Plus Ultras are there. Some of them are even free. Anyway.
For free.
Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Tomura Shigaraki is obviously going to team up with these guys, but the interesting point in this exchange is he asks for Overhaul's plan. He's like, all right, if we're going to work together, I think I have a right to know the plan. So what's your big plan? Overhaul's like, in good time, homeboy, in good time. And he kind of gives him a hint. He's like, well, All for One's basic ability was to take the quirks of other people and use them for himself.
Mm-hmm.
I've fine-tuned.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I've fine-tuned his approach a little bit. And that's all that we really get. And then they go on to talk about the quirk-canceling bullets, which I think are going to be another important part of not just this episode, but of the series. And
Oh yeah, absolutely.
at least, if not the series, this arc. But they go on to talk about the quirk canceling bullets. But I just think it's interesting that Overhaul. First of all, he knows about All for One, and it's, we talked about it a few episodes back. I'm not sure when, but to most of the world,
he was a legend. He was just an urban legend.
Yeah, they didn't think he really existed until the All Might fight happened.
Yeah.
Overhaul, on the other hand, seems to have known about it. I mean, we can debate on how long he's known about All for One, but seems to have a deep understanding of what he was up to and what he was doing and how he was doing it. And he sort of anointed himself almost to be that next guy to take up the mantle of what All for One was up to. And he's like, I figured it out. I knew what he was doing, and I knew a better way to do it, so I'm doing it in a better way. And he says something, I don't know exactly what it means, but we're spreading roots across this country. Spreading roots across the country? What the hell? What does that really mean? Either way.
I think it's like those red bullets, maybe he's using... He can, like... With those bullets, he can take the quirks from people and he can probably put them in other people.
Oh, you think the bullet's playing that way?
Yeah, that's
I was just thinking the bullet.
It's like a little pin, you know what I'm saying, with like a little capsule on the end of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like absorbing the quirks, and then he's like putting them in like his gang.
Maybe. I was just thinking that the bullets were like a quirk canceling thing or whatever. No, it was basically like I don't know, plot. I don't want to say plot device. That's a dirty word. I don't think I've really used that word very often in talking about my hero, but I thought it was just a way to, drive up the dramatics of any given fight. Oh shit, he got hit with a quirk nullifying bullet. He's out for 20 minutes. What are we gonna do without Shoto Todoroki's crazy ice and fire without 20 minutes? You know what? Like,
right.
I figured that's what they were introducing it. But the idea that maybe they're part of the bigger intricate plan of stealing quirks and using them for themselves, that makes sense with what he's saying. My bigger point is for him to feel so entitled as to anoint himself as the guy to continue All for One's plan. It's not exactly the same, but I think it mirrors at least pieces of Deku and Mirio's relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So Shigaraki is the dude who was anointed by All for One. He's like, you're the guy, you're the leader, do your thing, you're in charge. You're going to fuck up, that's okay. That's the learning process. Like, he has been groomed and mentored since being adopted as a young child to take over for this person. And in a lot of ways, I mean, it hasn't been as long a time, but over the last year plus time, Deku has been groomed by the dude to be, one for all, to be the next All Might. So with Mirio Togata coming in, and not to his own doing, I mean, he doesn't do it from a place of malice, but Naira, you could argue, has some malice in his heart toward Deku and being the next guy to inherit it. Yep. You just got these two people working side by side, Mirio and Deku. Mirio but people believe that Mirio should be the guy to inherit the quirk. And then you got Tomura Shigaraki and Overhaul working on side by side over here, and Shigaraki's the guy who's supposed to be taking over, and by all accounts is the one who was meant to take over. And Overhaul's kind of like, hey, what's up? I'm here, though, and I think I should be the one to do it. Like, it's always a mirror image between Deku and Shigaraki, and I just think that it's pretty remarkable that they've managed to work that piece of it into it. No matter, not that it's super contrived, but like they could have very easily overlooked this whole. That's what Overhaul's ambition is to be like All for One, like they could have just chalked it up to he's an evil douchebag who wants to control everything, but like, no, aligning his visions with the principles and things that were beset to the world through All for One, it really ties it together perfectly. It's fucking perfect. Any further questions, class?
No further questions, Your Honor.
I'm a lawyer now? Am I a judge?
Yeah, you're a judge, man. You're a judge of all things.
Moving on. This is obviously a Kirishima episode. We haven't talked dick about him yet. Why is that?
I don't know.
The name of the episode is Let's Go, Gutsy Red Riot.
Gutsy Red Riot.
I appreciate use of the word gutsy.
Yeah. It's a very underused word.
And also, I mean, let's be real. Was there any more appropriate adjective than gutsy?
For him? No.
Not in this episode, because he's gutsy as hell.
Oh, yeah.
But before we get to him being gutsy as hell, one of my favorite parts of this episode, and I think it's one of my favorite parts of this episode because a lot of reasons. Usually once a year, this is a weird way to start it, but usually once a year, my mom's like, hey, what's up? Are you bipolar yet? And I'm like, ooh.
Wow.
What? She's like, you know what happens around like 30? And I'm like, So you said last year when I turned 29. You said it happens around 29, Mom. Which is it? Anyway, I've always related with Kirishima. Kirishima is one of those guys who's usually pretty pragmatic in his approach and doesn't let his emotions get the best of him most of the time. And I'd like to think that in cases, and more cases than not, I can be like Kirishima. And you factor in just like how funny he is and how about like supporting his friends he is. Like he's like an idealized version of myself, I think. So that's my relationship with Kirishima, right? Somebody who always supportive of his friends, very pragmatic in trying to solve his problems, always trying to do better just because he just wants to be better. Idealized version of what I'd like to be. And then on the other side, you got Sun Eater. The fuck's his name? Tamaki Yamajiki. Fuck, dude. Let me try again. Tamaki Yamajiki. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Tamaki Yamajiki.
We'll go with that one.
So he is the most morose, somebody shit in my cereal motherfucker. And I am also him. Like, sometimes I see positive people and I'm like, my friend Sarah, you know Sarah, sometimes Sarah says stuff, she's like the most upbeat positive person in the world, and I'm like, stop it. And she's like, what? I'm like, you're annoying me. And I you know, in those moments I am the Sun Eater, Tamaki Yamajiki, where I'm just like, your positivity is fucking killing me. So he doesn't do it so much to the point where he's mean like I can be, but he's just uninterested in himself as a person, I think. Like, he doesn't think very much of himself, maybe is a better way to say it.
I guess.
He's obviously very low in the confidence factor, but he's got a very interesting quirk. Whatever the fuck he eats, clams, squid, chicken, those animals become primary features of his makeup. So he has some chicken feet and some chicken wings and some squid tentacles and some clams as
Clam
a fist.
hands.
Clam hands.
Clam hands.
So it's a very interesting quirk. Seems to be very powerful. He knows how to use it.
Yeah, man.
He's
actually really powerful.
And he gets shot with one of these quirk nullifying bullets. And this whole dust up that we've got while Kirishima, he and Fat Gum are out on patrol. And he's pretty much taken out of the equation. And
he was like, oh no, my tentacles.
Oh, my fingers, they won't grow no more. My fingers won't grow no more. So he gets taken out of the equation pretty quickly, and we ship to Kirishima as the main, the only person really to stand up to this last dude of this gang, this gray-haired weirdo. But
yeah, man.
Just the back and forth between the two of them, like, that's positivity. And Kirishima's still like trying to talk him up, like, come on, man, you're as great as I am. You're as great as anybody. And you can tell that Tamaki has a real, I don't know what the right word is. I don't know if issue's not the right word, but like, you can tell that he struggles with how good Mirio is, and how of the big three, Mirio is like the dude.
Yeah. And
even equates him and Kirishima and their positivity to the sun. And his name is Sun Eater. So I just, yeah.
Yeah, man, he just eats up all the positivity. That's why he's the Sun Eater.
Yeah, man. Sometimes he's just, morose, looking like Robert Smith of The Cure. Disintegration was kick ass, man. Killed the Mecha Streisand. So Tamaki gets taken out with this quirk nullifying thing. Kirishima runs this dude down an alleyway, chases him down. Like, they have the running scene. I love the running scene. Stop chasing me. He's like, I'll stop chasing you when you stop running. I'll catch you, bitch. Then I'll stop chasing you because you have been caught. And I'm a hero. Catches him down, like, basically a dead end.
It's a dead end, motherfucker.
What you gonna do? what you really want? And the dude tries to play him off like he's a sucker. Like, I'm just a weak dude in my gang. I'm a bum. I have weak little box cutters come out my shins.
Oh, I have 6-inch knives come out my. No, it's not his shins. It's his forearm.
10 centimeter blades.
I thought it was 6 centimeter.
10.
Oh.
10 centimeter inch. 10 centimeter inch. 10 centimeter blade. Yo, shout out to my buddy Reese down in Australia. I had a Instagram fit with him the other day because I said, Reese, you look like you're 7 feet tall. He said, I'm not 7 feet tall. I'm 5'11". And I said, you motherfucking liar. You are in Australia. You're not 5'11". You are something in centimeters. What would that be? And he said, like 180 centimeters. And I was like, exactly. Don't tell me you're not fucking 7 feet tall. You're 180 centimeters. Oh, Reese, we love you, baby. What's next? Oh yeah, little last blade having motherfucker. So
oh yeah,
I don't think we got this dude's name at any point.
No, I don't think so.
I wish that we did. I feel like we need to come up with a name. Little Blade. It's kind of like Lil Bill.
No,
maybe not the best idea.
No, that's not a good one. I don't get nothing though. What about?
Look how close I am to my microphone compared to you.
Oh.
There you go. All right, well, we don't have a name for that dumb blade having motherfucker yet, but we will. G dang it, we will. Like how I censor myself for G dang it. So, you ever dealt with the junkie feds?
Actually, yes.
What, like on a bus or something?
Nope.
Who? Not who?
Not who. I don't know any junkies.
You don't know any junkies?
No.
But you dealt with one?
Yeah.
Tell me the story.
In Providence.
What,
so I
Kennedy
went to
Bus Plaza or Kennedy Plaza?
No, near PPAC.
What'd they do?
So I was pulling out of the parking lot over there.
Yeah.
After a show at PPAC, and this guy was just fucking straight up tripping balls on heroin right at the exit of the parking lot, and I had to sit there and just watch him. He was just swaying around, doing his thing, and I beeped at him a couple of times, and he like got startled. Then he started like talking, and I was like, "Yep, we gotta move, dude. Like, get the fuck out of the way." And I was just about ready to call the cops, and then he stopped, and then he moved. But I was like, "Man, what a sad soul, man. What a sad soul, man."
So this guy in the alleyway that Kirishima's got cornered, who's giving him a sob story, exhibits classic junkie behavior. Goes from crying. Goes from being a thief-ass motherfucker, criminal, repugnant, quite frankly, and then all of a sudden he's crying and trying to gain some sympathy. And I say, no sympathy for thee, you little blade knife weirdo.
He was crying.
He was crying. And he really tries to lay into the tears before he takes this fucking vial out of his pocket and injects it into his neck. And I was like, oh my... When I watched it the other day, this was one of the few times this season that I've been able to watch it at least once through before we watch it together. I thought that he like injected himself with a cyanide capsule or something. I
thought he was gonna like kill himself.
Yeah, I thought that the vial that he stuck into his neck was a way to basically end his life. And then I was like, yo, this is like a manga, designed for like 12-year-old boys. It might be a little bit too dark. Quirk enhancement, steroids. Bringing it back to the professional baseball references. Just swear to God, man. Like, I know that Japan loves baseball. Certain parts of Japanese culture worked their way into My Hero Academia for sure. But I don't think it could be understated that baseball is a primary influence. From the hero contracts to the drug injections.
True.
Motherfuckers were all about the juice.
Wow.
Like it?
Wow. It's crazy.
So Kirishima only one standing in between a group of bystanders and this dude expanding knives out his chests and his eyes and his neck.
How the fuck do you sprout a knife from your eyeball?
Want to know?
How?
Drugs. Also, Barry Bonds hit like 74 home runs that year. So, drugs. Was it 74? What was the record that year?
74, I think.
72?
Oh, man. No. 72 was Mark McGuire, I think.
Either way. Barry
Whatever.
Bonds hit a lot of home runs, and that's how that motherfucker popped some blades out his eye. Drugs.
He's the all-time home run leader, Barry Bonds.
Oh, I thought you meant this bum-ass villain in an alleyway. I was like, he didn't hit no home runs with those blades. He tried to hit some home runs right into Kirishima's thorax, and Kirishima said, "None mas."
No mas, man.
No mas. Kirishima, XX Unbreakable.
Super hot and dude.
Hashtag super hot. Din. All right, so the whole junkie behavior, obviously, like the back and forth. So he injects himself up, he gets all hyped up. Kirishima's whole, I like his flashback. I like his flashback to the conversation that he's having in the, I guess, the dorm room areas. It's with him,
Yeah, it's
Bakugo,
like the common area.
Sero, Denki's there. They make fun of Denki. And this is another thing that I think kind of helps me relate to Kirishima. He's very, what's the word? Self-aware. So he's like looking around at the people around him and he's like, you guys are all really talented in what you're doing. If we, graduate and we all go on to become pro heroes, there is a really strong possibility that you are all going to be so much stronger than I am just because of what your quirks are, how they work, how you already know how to use them. I have a very, not as practical quirk in regards to what you guys have. And Bakugo, of all the people, Bakugo now, I mean, I don't know when this was, but the Bakugo that we experience in the present here is very pissed off about not having his hero license and is just watching everybody around him get ahead of him. I cannot wait for Bakugo to fucking make up for lost time when he gets his license.
Right.
He's going to come out and whoop everybody's ass possible just to make up for lost time. I cannot wait. But he gives Kirishima, rather, his boyfriend, some of the best words of encouragement, in that, they talk about like, why are you beating up on yourself like that? Why are you down on yourself? I'm not being down on myself. I'm just being realistic. I'm just trying to figure out the best way for me to improve. And I'm like, yeah, Kirishima, that's what being a fucking cognizant adult is like. You're just trying to get better and move forward and onward. You know what I'm saying? That's what reflect on your actions, people. Think about the things that you say and do. Think about the ways in which you could better yourself. This is what Kirishima is actively doing in this scene while just sitting on a couch with his hair down. Very evidently, he recently showered, and he's just like sitting down with some quiet time with his friends and bouncing off some fucking ideas on how to get better as a pro hero. That's some admirable shit. If I ever saw some admirable shit on this show.
You go, Red Riot.
Gutsy Red Riot. Gutsy AF. All right, now that I've yelled about that, I like Bakugo's words of encouragement to him and saying, you must not remember during the sports festival what you said to me. You need a strong front horse. He gives him that, little refresher course on what he was or what he did during the sports festival and being the strong front of the cavalry battle. But then he also says, and what we saw All Might do, what we watched All Might do in the big battle against All For One. Like, he stood up and he fought. And that's when the line is delivered for this episode for me that set me on this like whole thought process last night that I tried to talk to you a little bit about earlier, but I couldn't think of the line. So the line is just standing. This is Bakugo to Kirishima, reminding him that day in that flashback on the couch. Just standing up means you are strong. And I'm like, God damn, somebody put that shit on a motivational poster.
That is a deep shit.
Make that a meme. Share that shit on LinkedIn. Sales executive.
Yeah.
Trying to rally the troops and maybe recruit a new salesperson so you got a little bit more override on your overall salary. Hang in there, kitten. Shit like that. Just standing up means you're strong. So it's kind of hard for me to try to totally verbalize, but I think the idea, I like to think about like what makes My Hero Academia resonate with people so much. And I think coming into it, and definitely in early, definitely my early thoughts on it were like, it's got elements of the X-Men and elements of Harry Potter and elements of other superhero properties all kind of mishmashed into one. And that makes it so that way a lot of different people can latch onto it or whatever. And I think that is one relevant aspect of it. But one thing that I haven't really thought about until I saw this line yesterday, and I was like, yo, that one line from one character to another, that one screenshot of him about to power up into fucking Red Riot Unbreakable. And just standing up. Unbreakable. Just standing up means that you're strong. It's a motivational poster, right? That moment literally it gives me goosebumps. A lot of moments in My Hero Academia, at least one moment an episode typically, right around the climax of the third act, coincidentally, something big happens where I'm like, ooh, yeah, fucking, this is dope. This is great. We're about to see somebody overcome and do something awesome. And the memeability of the show is something that we've talked about a few times, but I think memeability is often taken in like a funny context. I think the idea that memification or what a meme is like the ability to express an idea between like people who are like familiar with the subject matter. Like it's a reference, you can express the idea just through what that reference is, and that's the idea of a meme, more or less. A lot of people take it in context of, you know, what is funny, but it doesn't have to necessarily be funny. It can be a motivational thing. It could be an uplifting whatever thing. It's the idea that's expressed. That's the meme. Memes don't always have to be dank ass fire fucking funny things. The memeability here is very, I think you can look at it from a serious perspective as well. Like that's the motivational uplifting shit. Like again, just standing up means that you are strong. It gives you that moment like that. It makes you feel, at least for me as a 30-year-old white dude, it makes me feel like it's okay to watch anime because I'm getting something positive out of it. I think that is another important element that can be something that's very easily overlooked and kind of just like lost up in the shuffle of all of these other elements that make My Hero Academia a very relatable show. The idea that very seldom is a line of dialogue wasted. Usually things are super intentional for what their characters say, and it can equate to moments like this where Kirishima is like, I'm unbreakable, motherfucker. Don't try to put your blades through my thorax. And then he doesn't let him put his blades through his thorax, and he defends the civilians.
Chops him in half.
With half. We will chop you in half. Last thing I want to talk about before we wrap this episode, basically, is, obviously, Kirishima doesn't win it by himself. Homeboy almost escapes, but Facum gobbles his ass up.
Yeah, man. Facum's ridiculous.
Be My Hero. Fat absorption.
Does he get bigger and shit? Because he looked like bigger than.
So we talked to a cosplayer at Rhode Island Comic Con. The sound was last week. He said that his favorite pro hero is Facum. Obviously this kid was, manga nerd, and I don't want to be like, I don't read the manga, kid, try again. I don't want to be that guy. I just met him 30 seconds ago. But he explained it to me. He's like, the more that he eats, similar to Sato in class, where like, the more sugar he consumes, the more strength he can output. This guy eats, he gains more and more mass, and then he can use that mass as, power to be able to restrict enemies like he did. Like he absorbs things that can restrict them, like he did with Knife Boy here today.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, so he's obviously the one who wins the day, or is the one who ultimately wraps it up. But the bystanders who Kirishima defended in the alleyway, they're all like asking what his name is. They all want to know about him. After the credits, they go back to class, and Kirishima's on the news, like on websites, articles.
Holy crap.
Same thing for Froppy and Achako. I think Jiro and Yaoyorozu also got a little bit of internet notoriety because they're like some cute little sidekicks at these agencies. But we get to see a little bit of like the beginning of the start of their hero story. It's not like I'm a student trying to become a hero. It's like I'm a sidekick. I'm out here using my power in public. I have my license. I saved people's lives today, and now I've got people running around telling the story of how that time Red Riot saved their lives in an alleyway, and you get to see the kind of start of that for these heroes a little bit. And I think that is something that's only going to grow more. They're only going to start to perform for larger and larger, or save. Perform is probably the wrong word. They're probably only continue to save more and more people, have more and more people running around. They're the mythos of these respective, upcoming heroes is starting to be built right before our motherfucking eyes. Any additional thoughts, Feds?
Well, I obviously can't wait to see where this is all heading to. As is the rest of the world, I'm imagining.
Well, the preview for next week is pretty much cutting the crust off the shit sandwich, Finn. And we're meeting up. We're going right to the Night Eye meeting. It seems like there's going to be at least 2, if not maybe 3.
I saw way more than that.
Yeah, it looks like it's a big meeting. Multiple agencies are involved, and they're all talking about the plan that Overhaul has on using Eerie, the little girl that Deku just can't stop thinking about how he couldn't save her in that moment and how it's eating him alive. I like that after the credits, they talk a little bit about that and how Deku's like, the relationship between Night Eye and All Might is something that he's really worried about. Not worried about, but like he wants to figure out, like wants to learn more about, because he's very much in the dark about a lot of the details. We as the audience aren't, but he is. And then Togeda, he says it out loud again. He's like, and then there's this other guy who's kind of gunning for my job and is totally worthy of it, and I have to deal with that. And then comes back to Eerie at the end of it. And he's like, but I can't stop thinking about that. It's eating me alive. And I'm like, you're goddamn right it's eating you alive. You're the fucking number one hero.
Yep.
Who let that little girl fucking walk? It wasn't you. It was Togeda. And you realize why he had to do it in that moment. And us as the audience agrees with it. But I can't think that it can't be overlooked that Deku was, if it was just Deku there,
he had every intention of saving her.
Mirio didn't come along, and that ends completely. Deku doesn't walk away.
No.
He can't. He can't turn it off.
Nope.
That's why he is the true symbol of peace. For all we know, Mirio
wants to save everybody.
For all we know, Mirio could start smoking weed next year, lose all his motivation, fucking gain 30 pounds. Like, you never know what could happen.
Like, remember that time I said I was going to save at least $1 million? Well,
I made it to like
10.
6,000. I fucking, somebody rewarded me with a joint.
And then I was like,
all downhill ever since. Stopped by a Dairy Queen on my flight home. That's right. I gained the power filet. And ate ice cream.
Many blizzards.
Many DQ blizzards.
And other ice cream delicacies.
Other DQ delicacies. Got some chicken fingers to go. Can't eat chicken fingers after you have a big bowl of ice cream. That's fucked.
Yeah.
That would be fucked. Good thing Mirio Togeda hasn't found weed yet.
Good thing they probably never will.
Why? They don't have weed in Japan?
I don't know.
They got fucking performance-enhancing quirk serum or whatever.
I don't know.
Think you can't find a little green?
I don't know.
Quirk juice. Quirk juice.
Quirk juice? That sounds wrong.
I wonder if the quirk juice...
Quirk juice.
I want to know if All Might can use the quirk juice.
I don't know.
If All Might uses the quirk juice, does he turn back into All Might for a minute? For an hour? If All Might takes a trip to the US of A to visit his friend David Shield, will he get some quirk juice that'll last an hour plus so he can fuck up some big time villains with Deku down the line? Because that's what I'm about. That's what I'm here for.
I hope so. That'd be great. Like just every once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get you to smash up every villain of the week, Detroit Smash style. Just like, maybe once a season, maybe a movie once a year. Nothing big. Get some quirk juice and let's do this thing.
Movie comes out soon now.
I hope so. I don't know. Does it?
I think it comes out in December now.
We should go. Last time we had to go, me and Carlton went, we had to go to Chinatown in Boston. It was
wow.
It was a trek to get there, dude. It was the only theater that we could find tickets.
Really?
Yeah, 60 fucking miles away. All the Providence screenings sold out immediately. Immediately. We had to find a sub perform. Was it a sub or was it a dub? I can't remember. I think it was a dub. Either way, it was so packed. And kids just cheered the entire fucking time. And it's in Chinatown in Boston. Yeah.
Wow.
Trek.
That's rough.
All right. That's going to do it for Super Dope Plus Ultra. So,
yeah, man.
Sure you rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you subscribe, that's cool. But if you rate and leave a review, that's the stuff that makes my heart smile. Because that's how people find the show. People see that you left us a cool review and they're like, oh, look at this cool review. If this person said that it's cool, maybe it's cool. You are the people who make the audience come to us. Don't ever, ever forget. You have the power.
But seriously, make his heart smile, people.
But yeah, no, I like my heart to smile. So make sure you do that. Go follow us on Instagram at DBSuperDope. Twitter at DBSuperDope1. What else? Patreon. Yep, I say that one a couple times a day. Patreon.com/DragonBallSuperDope. Call us up. Leave us a voicemail. We'll be doing the manga chapter this week. I read the manga chapter for Dragon Ball this morning. And gotta say, guys, I know that there's a lot of Dragon Ball fans out there who probably loved it. I have to read it again because my first reading of it wasn't bad, but it, that's really meh. That's how I meh. And that last panel with Whis and the Grand Priest, it's a little cactus. All right, we're done. Gonna raise my hand with the peace and... Oh, wait. Did
What?
I give the phone number?
No.
Oh.
What's the phone number for the voicemail?
401-213-9596.
Leave a voicemail.
If you read the manga, leave a voicemail about it. Or maybe it's about Boku no Hero Academia.
Or maybe it's just about you.
About me. Maybe it's about
No.
you.
No. I mean, like, about themselves.
Oh, yeah. Maybe Rodney will call us. Or, that's pretty much it. Rodney's the only person I look forward to calls from. But that's because he's the only one who's called us multiple times. Everyone else has been a one and done. They're like, oh, you guys got a phone number? Let me try it out real quick. For all you know, I got a really funny voicemail message on there right now. You don't fucking know. Because you don't call. You don't check. You don't fucking check. All right?
Perks, man.
What?
Call the number. It's the perks, man.
You're the perks. I'm the perks. We the perks. 401-213-9596.
Call it.
Gonna raise my hand with a peace sign. Betsy help me bully you guys.